technical excellence of the late 20th century has glutted man's appetite for material things. The overabundance of production, gadgetry, and gimmicks caused a few to lead the return towards basic values. Historians will look to the early 1970s as a turning point in concern about the world around us. This awareness centers on our environment. Yet today we must admit we have only begun to tackle the problem. In our nation, Washington State stands out as the first to address itself directly to the problems and take positive legislative action on environmental concerns. This is Rod Serling, speaking for the Washington State Department of Ecology. Recognizing the need for coordinated and responsive public environmental programs, the 41st Washington State Legislature created the Department of Ecology in 1970. It was the first to be created by legislative mandate and signed into law by a governor. The functions of 3 state agencies in 4 established areas of resource management and pollution control were combined to form the new department. These were the Department of Water Resources, the Water Pollution Control Commission, and the Department of Health's Air Pollution Control and Solid Waste Management sections. Because the 1970 Act made one department responsible for the complex environmental programs, the buck passing has stopped. The public now has one agency on which to vent its wrath, complaints, and sometimes its praise. Each year, the legislature calls on the department to accept new responsibilities as public advocate or watchdog for the environment. Let's look at these responsibilities. In the past few years, everyone has become more concerned about the future of our water resources. Why? The fact is that we are running out of water. The average amount of precipitation stays the same each year, but something very important is changing: the population. Not only more people, but more use of water per person. With the increase in population comes the increase in industrial and agricultural use. The total amount of water used each day in the United States is approximately 327 billion gallons. The Washington legislature anticipated this problem and passed the Water Resources Act of 1971 for an active program to protect the state's water resources and to provide an ongoing management system. Solid waste management was the first responsibility given to us from the old Department of Health and is now known as Land Resource Management. Continuing changes in the methods of manufacturing, packaging, and marketing of consumer products has created new problems in handling solid waste. It has been estimated that on the average, each person generates approximately 5.5 pounds of solid waste a day. That means each day, 19 million pounds of solid waste is generated in the state of Washington. A statewide plan is being developed for a complete solid waste handling system, from storage to collection to disposal at sanitary landfills in each of our counties. An important program in land resource management is litter control. Litter is anything people throw away in the wrong place, and the wrong place is any place other than the normal litter receptacle. Litter is an eyesore and defaces the natural and scenic beauty of the state. It also threatens public health and safety when found in recreational areas and on our highways. Last year, litter was a $14 million problem in Washington. In air quality control, the Department of Ecology sets standards for air quality and for emissions of airborne pollution. The major sources of air pollution are regulated directly by the state. Other common air pollution sources are controlled by regional air authorities. All major industries are on compliance schedules and operate under a program of improvements which must be met according to a set timetable. New industries or major redesign of existing plants must receive state approval for air pollution control before construction can begin. Motor vehicles, by sheer numbers, are a large and growing source of air pollution. The auto pours out carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, lead, and other chemicals. For every gallon of gasoline burned, the average auto discharges more than 1 pound of contaminants. The effects of pollution from auto engines vary widely in different places and under different conditions. The Department of Ecology is considering smog alerts to be broadcast on critical days. At any time the hazard is critical, ride the bus. Postpone unnecessary trips. And don't use that second car. Cooperation is needed if we are to clean up the air in our cities. Voluntary actions are certainly preferable to restrictive governmental steps. To combat water pollution, the department has established standards for all waters in the state. These standards were designed to protect the natural quality of our waters and beneficial uses made of them. As a result of these standards, approximately 500 municipal and industrial waste discharges were required to make corrections to existing treatment systems, which were otherwise inadequate. Standards imposed on industry are based on two tough measures. First, all known available and reasonable means of treatment must be installed. Second, the goal is to reduce total pollution to the point where all state waters meet high-quality levels. Thus, the approach is directed both at the amount of waste discharges and the quality of waters receiving these discharges. Washington has the nation's toughest oil spill law, with a fine of up to $20,000 for each spill. In addition, the violator is liable for resource damage compensation. Monitoring of both air and water pollution by the state takes place constantly. State inspectors make unannounced spot checks on the average of every 3 months. They measure the pollution caused by industry and by municipal sewage systems and check this data against figures provided by the polluter. This ensures the public of an honest and complete effort toward pollution control. By legislative directive, the department moved into the first land planning activity in the state under the Shoreline Management Act. Washington possesses an irretrievable natural resource in its shorelines. Each type of shoreline area is feeling a pressure from more people, better roadways, and a population with more free time. Unlike a ballpark, when a shoreline area becomes overused, we cannot merely build another. There are only a limited number of shoreline areas in the state, and the policies are directed to enhancement of public use and enjoyment of shorelines rather than restriction of their use. Today, man so arrogantly misuses the environment in his rush towards increased comforts that he is very close to poisoning and suffocating himself and destroying all the life around him. Everyone has a stake in maintaining a high quality of life. As individuals or collectively as an organization, you can help to make our neighborhood, your community, the state and nation better places to live. Misuse and pollution of our air, water, and land resources don't just happen. Someone causes them. It could be you.